Welcome to the Corner Pocket, home of the best handicap and breakdown videos in the game. I'm Ozzy Scooper with a special birthday edition here. Woo! This game will get your blood flowing. Green Bay going to Dallas. When I've been watching the playoffs over the years, there hasn't been a game that infuriated me more than the 2014 clash between Green Bay and Dallas at Lambeau, where Tony Romo on 4th and 1 with the choke boy label goes for the jugular, throws it up. Des Bryant makes one of the best go-get-it catches you'll ever see. Dives for the pylon, and the ball squirts up, re-catches it, but we're going to call it losing, maintain a possession, and you're going to rob the Dallas Cowboys in 2014 of an opportunity to compete for the Super Bowl championship. Now, 2015, they come out on a mission to try to right the wrongs. Romo goes down, Dez goes down, it's a lost season. Now here we are in 2016. Romo's not in the equation, but it's the same story. It's the same mission to right the wrong from the 2014 team that was built to win a title. Now, this 1-5 against the spread kind of throw off the scent for Dallas to close the season. I like it. I like it going for the big picture here. Now, Green Bay, on the other hand, they've been in playoff mode for 2 months now. 7 straight wins, 6-1 against the spread to finish, scoring 30 week after week. Now, 9 of their last 11 have gone over. Now, there's 3 games I want to look at as far as evidence of what these teams are. First of all, the matchup against each other, 30-16 Dallas wins. The other one that sticks out to me for Green Bay is when they lose to Indy at home 31-26. Now, as we saw as this season kind of progressed, Indy is not the most complete team, not very physical, and the Green Bay Packers let the Colts come into Lambeau and really punch them in the mouth and took it. The other one is Washington. As the season was progressing, it felt like a must-win situation, and they get beat down 42-24 in prime time. Now, as this kind of run-the-table developed, the quarterback play they played against wasn't the greatest and kind of maybe disguised a couple flaws I'm going to get to here. But those are 3 games that I think, if you're going to judge the Green Bay Packers, you got to really focus in on. Now, Dallas, on the other hand, there's 3 games that stood out to me. Against Washington, week 2, coming off of the opening week loss to the Giants, where Dak did his thing, hit Terrence Williams to set up a long field goal, and the guy didn't get out of bounds. How do they respond? They come back the next week. I mean, this sideline was popping. When I watched that game on replay, I couldn't believe, is this the same Cowboy team? They looked like they were a unit. They were just, they loved each other. They had fun. And Dak led a touchdown drive in the 4th quarter to win the game 27-23, and it kind of really revealed the identity of what was to come with his team. Then as well with the Green Bay win, statement to kind of get over that 2014 game, and then really the one that really solidified what the ceiling was for the Dallas Cowboys was when they played Pittsburgh 35-31. Didn't play their best game. Pass rush was almost non-existent at the time, and they found a way to win 35-31, just making play after play when they had to. Now, this is a unique rivalry. The first time Rodgers went to Dallas was in 2007. Brett Favre was starting at the time for Romo. Favre goes down the 2nd quarter. Rodgers comes in. It was a clash between 2 10-1 teams. It was the first time in the Super Bowl era that had happened post-Week 10. And Dallas Cowboys prevailed 37-27. Just a little kind of interesting nugget from there. Over-under was 52.5, and Dallas was -6. Looks pretty eerily similar here. Now, in that Week 6 game where Dallas beats Green Bay, first drive they come out, they make the statement, they win the turnover differential by 2, and really the story of the game was the number 1 rush defense versus the number 1 rushing attack. Green Bay at the time was holding teams to 42.8 yards a game. Since Week 4, they've been very, very normal at best. Zeke in that game went 28 for $157, 5.6 yards a carry, and Cole Beasley, slot people have been giving Green Bay issues all year. He went 6 catches for 58 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. So don't be surprised if Measly Beasley has another nice game here. Now, I think the perceived value of these teams is off because of the recency bias, because of the image that these 2 teams have, maybe the age of the Cowboys, and just the history of these organizations. Dallas hasn't done anything in the playoffs for a long time, and it's easy to remember what you've seen, and this is just a different team. This is a different culture, identity, and really, ultimately, how you judge these teams is based on the schedule you watch them play, and sometimes, it's situational. You get breaks with injuries, and you kind of got to look at the resume collectively and find out, is this team the truth, or is there some things that I need to look out for? Now, during this run the table that I mentioned here for Green Bay, they play Philly, who in advanced metrics is the 4th best team in the league. One of those teams where even the smart football minds can't quite understand how these metrics are seeing that. But in that game, Green Bay jumps out to 14-0. It really took Philly out of their game. They couldn't run the ball. It just really flipped the game to where, it was a slow start for Philly, and the game was kind of an odd one to really judge Green Bay on. Then they kind of struggle with Houston, with Brock Osweiler. We've seen how bad he is. They win the game relatively easy, but nothing that's super impressive. Then they go to Seattle in a game where Russell Wilson throws 5 picks, plays one of the worst games of his career. I'm not going to get over animated about what that game means to Green Bay. Then they play Chicago. Matt Barkley slings it all over the field. Jordan Howard gashes him, and Jordy makes a play late, and they win the game 30-27, but they struggled. Then they play Minnesota. They do their thing on offense, put up 38 against a defense that kind of quit down the stretch, and Sam Bradford kind of responded time after time, puts up 25, throws for over 300, and, then they go to Detroit, 27th in the league in advanced metrics. Beat them on that last Sunday night game to clinch the division. And then last week against the Giants. This is where I really start to look at this Packer team, and I need to reevaluate, well, what happened last week? Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie goes out in the second quarter, and all of a sudden, Eli Apple, the number 3 corner, becomes number 2, and everything flips. The slots become open. Randall Cobb gets open, and really they just couldn't stop him after that injury. And for the first 6 drives, Rodgers threw for 54 yards on 6 of 14. They punted every single time. And you look at this Packer team, and it's easy to say they're unstoppable, but at the same time, we've seen times where they've really struggled. So here, if the Giants stayed maybe off the boat and made a couple catches early, and Rodgers-Cromartie doesn't get hurt, maybe we're talking about round 3 here with the Giants-Packers, but that's another story. Now, as far as these advanced metrics, Dallas comes in as the number 2 team in the league. Now, they have multiple ways to beat you. And like I said, with this down-the-stretch run, people aren't viewing this Dallas team as the second-best team in the league. And, it's really it's New England Super Bowl, and everyone else is just kind of chasing them. But to me, Dallas has every right as any other team to be the Super Bowl favorite. And really, as far as who the favorite is in this game, a lot of people might think it is the Packers just on the way you've been hearing people talk, even though this Dallas team is a 5-point favorite. Now, this Dallas offense, number 3 in passing, number 2 in rushing. Green Bay defense, 23rd in the league. The matchup kind of resembles the Detroit game where you see 42-21 and Dallas kind of just scores at will. Wouldn't be surprised. They have a rare combination where they can really pick their poison and pick the style. Do they want to throw? Do they want to let Dak get loose? Or do they just want to run it, play time of possession, play keep away from Rodgers? I think they really can do either, and it all comes from that offensive line that's the number 1 in football. Since that week 1 loss where they struggled a little bit on offense, got off to a slow start, these are Dallas's point totals: 27, 31, 24, 28, 30, 29, 35, 35, 27, 31. Then they hit a little roadblock, go to Minnesota and to the Giants, 2 teams that play really tough defense at home, struggled a little bit, lost 1, won 1, probably should have lost them both. And then they come back, respond, finish the season nice with a 26 spot on Tampa Bay and 42 on Detroit. Now this Green Bay defense that has been kind of covered up by turnover differential here in the last 4 weeks. Had 13 turnover created during that stretch before the Giant game. Added another 2 there. Green Bay's point totals they've allowed: 31st Dallas, 33 versus Atlanta, 31 versus Indy, 47 versus Tennessee in a game where they gave up 35 in the first half, 42 versus Washington, 27 versus Chicago, and 25 versus Minnesota. So as you can see, this Green Bay defense, very gashable on multiple levels. Not only this run defense against Chicago, Howard goes 17 for 90 for 5.3 yards a carry. Washington on that Sunday night game, Rob Kelly goes for $137, 3 touchdowns, 5.7 yards a carry. Then DeMarco Murray goes for $123 on 17 carries, 7.2. And really, let's go back to the Dallas. They gashed them at 5.6 attempts. So this Green Bay team, if they need to bring 8 in the box and all of a sudden, Clinton Dix is playing up, you still have the threat of Prescott to run the ball, along with Dez Deep, Cole Beasley, Jason Witten on 3rd and 4. They just have so many options, so many different ways to beat you. And this Green Bay defense, they're flawed in multiple facets. They're number 28 against number 1 receivers. They're number 29 against number 2 receivers. They're 26th against the slot. Now, as far as opportunities, it's all about the red zone. Do you come up when you get your situation? Dallas, number 3 offense in the league in the red zone. Green Bay, 26th in the league in defense. And like I mentioned with Prescott, that read option, they've had 12 design runs this year in the red zone with Prescott. 3 of them he scored a touchdown on. And if we remember 2013, it's hard to forget Dom Capers' defense here with Green Bay gave up 181 yards rushing to Colin Kaepernick with that scheme that where Kaepernick kind of just holds on to it, and these defensive end linebackers don't know how to react, and just the way that their scheme fits, don't be surprised if Prescott has a nice day on the ground. Now, as far as the winning down, the money down, third down, Dallas, number 9 in the league, and I think that's a little deceiving. Early in the season, they were top 3, kind of faded off a little bit, but as far as on third down offense, there's not very many teams I would pick, maybe just New England and Pittsburgh over this Dallas team on third down, maybe Green Bay as well. Now, as far as if you're going to say this Dallas team is going to struggle on offense today, it's going to be rooted. Your argument's probably going to come from the fact that these are rookies and you don't know how they're going to react. So let's look at some of the big moments they've been in this season. And I know it's a different game in the playoffs, but big-time moments are big-time moments. Prescott, week 1 versus the Giants, he was leading that drive to set him up in field goal range before Terrence Williams didn't get out. Then against Washington, game-winning drive. Against San Francisco, down 14-0, he responds, plays flawless, brings him back. At Green Bay, played a great game, wins it. Philly on Sunday night, down 10 in the fourth quarter. This was really the day that the Romo talk kind of had to die down after what he did. Brings it back. They win it in overtime. Then at Pittsburgh, after Big Ben does the fake spike touchdown, Dak responds. And then against Baltimore, with Jimmy Smith out, it became a game where it wasn't really predicated on the run anymore, and it was Dak's game, and he delivered the goods. Then against Washington on Turkey Day, all he did was score points, even though Kirk Cousins was matching him point for point. Now Zeke, he did his thing against Pittsburgh, 21 for $114, 2 touchdowns. Also had the 2 receptions for 95 and a touchdown. But really, when I look at him in his moments, I want to speak on what he did in college in this Final Four. Against Bam in the Final Four matchup, 20 carries for 230 and 4 touchdowns. Against Oregon, 36 for 246 and 4 touchdowns. And then his senior year, or his last year in college, against Michigan and Notre Dame, he gashes them as well. So I think he's the type of running back that kind of just steps up to the plate when it's a big-time game. Now on the other side of the ball, Green Bay's offense versus the Rob Marinelli defense. Green Bay 7th in the league in passing. Dallas 18th in the league defending the pass. Kirk Cousins, Big Ben, and Rodgers all had some success against this Dallas defense, something that is pause for concern. Cousins goes for 449 and 364 in the 2 games. Big Ben goes for 408, and Rodgers went for 294. Now, there's a difference. This Dallas team, early in the season, and a reason why I thought their ceiling was pretty low for the long term was that they couldn't rush the quarterback. Eventually, stopping the pass was going to be their Achilles heel. And then they get this guy off the Kansas City practice squad, Irving, 4 sacks down the stretch. Add that with the fact that they have Crawford, 4.5, McLean, Lawrence is healthy, Thornton. They have some weapons at this defensive line, and it's like they all kind of came out of nowhere, just buying into the system, playing hard, good football, making tackles when they're there. And really, when you break down this Green Bay versus Dallas matchup, offense versus defense, it comes down to Jordy Nelson. Now, I think this is a situation where we're not quite viewing this Nelson injury with the right merit because of what Aaron Rodgers was able to do last week when he was out. Now, in 2015, over a bigger sample size, without Rodgers-Cromartie out situation, let's look at the difference between Jordy on the field and off the field. Rodgers' completion percentage in his life is 65.1. 2015, he was 60.7. He really struggled. And if you want to talk about the loss of Jordy, it's not going to show its head as much anywhere than in the red zone with the back shoulder and that chemistry that they show they've had over the years. And when you talk about settling for field goals against this Dallas team that can beat you in so many ways, it's going to be tough. Now, if there's one area that this Dallas defense really needs to fix, and they have down the stretch, is when they take on the tight end. They're 30th in the league defending the tight end. This Green Bay team hasn't gotten much production from tight end throughout the year because Jared Cook, a very big, physical, fast tight end, was out for most of the season. He's back. They're a different team when he's on the field. So if the Green Bay offense is going to move the ball and put points up and really test this Dallas team to play a great game, it's going to be because Jared Cook has a monstrous game. Now, the other thing is, can Randall Cobb create separation? He did last week, but then again, you're playing at Lambeau with that real slick field. Defenders that don't play there very often aren't quite used to it. It's really hard to guard those slot guys on that field. And here you're in the dome. You're going to have the crowd noise. You're going to have Rodgers under duress. I don't think he's going to have all day to throw like he has in a lot of these other games. And this secondary for Dallas, very quietly, a very nice unit. Morris Claiborne, top 6 pick in the 2012 draft, groin injury, he returns, and also he's in a contract year, so you know he's going to be highly motivated to show that he is a top-tier shutdown corner. Don't know if they're going to play him the entire game, but if they need him, he will be on the field. Brandon Carr, Orlando Scandrick, Anthony Brown, the rookie, all very good players that make plays. This Green Bay team in the last 7 games, 31.9 points a game. Now, Dallas, they have this bend but don't break defense that's very good in the red zone, and they've only given up 19.1 points a game, 5th in the league. It's going to be paramount to get off the field on 3rd down. Green Bay, number 3 in the league, Dallas 16th. Red zone matchup, Green Bay 10th, Dallas 13th. So, not complete mismatches, favorable for Green Bay, but these are stats that include Jordy Nelson. With him off the field, get him in some third and longs, kind of shut down the run game. And this Dallas team just plays with high intensity, high energy, and does their thing. Keeps Rodgers frustrated and kind of, because when he starts playing with that championship belt swag and running around, he's very tough to stop. But you can get in his head. There's no question about it. Now, as far as going in this game, like I said, you got a little bit of situational favorite confusion here with the Green Bay Packers and Cowboys. Of you ask 100 guys in the bar, who wins this game? I think it might be split 50-50. Even though Dallas is a 5-point favorite, some people might look at that and just kind of be a little surprised you got to take the points in a game like this. I disagree. You got a fresh, healthy team. Tyron Smith back after taking the last week off. Zeke took off week 17 along with the bye week. I'm sure he'll be fresh. Now, as far as predicting how this game will start, first quarter, first half, I think it's a very tough spot to predict. Dallas in their first, playoff game as a unit, and as the game progresses, I have no doubt that they will flip a switch and be very, very difficult to stop. But predicting the first quarter, and particularly the first half, kind of difficult. I think Dallas will take the lead to the half, but wouldn't be surprised if they had a little adversity going to the halftime and came out and just really set the tone in the second half. But Cowboys -5. I like the money line as well, and also a little teaser with the Steelers at 8.5 and the Cowboys +1. Scooper Dupe, just doing what I do.